Everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. I'd like to quickly throw together. I talked yesterday while I was making that big scrap dragon, the mechanical dragon. I talked about making oilers and wrenchers. So let's make one of those now. So basically, they are simple automatons from a time before that do tasks. I want to make sure I get a good grip on there. I'm going to shove that bead down, that chip down there. Then I'm going to grab a knife and cut that out. I'm going to try to grab something a little sharper than I've been grabbing lately because I'm tired of things that don't cut shit. Political intrigue. I want people to follow the law. They don't want to follow the law. I get drug into these weird things where council members' wives are talking shit on me on Facebook because I busted their husband out for not following the law. I'm not going to respond. One, because I don't fight with women. Because if you're married, you know that's a waste of time. You can't win even if you're right. And two, it's not a good look for me to be attacking people, even in a defensive manner. Because I'm trying to fix the problem. I'm not trying to be part of this war for as long as it needs to be. I want it to end. So all I'm doing is creating kind of a metal plating on the ground. And I'm cutting some grooves in that to separate the plates. Then I'm going to dig a little bit of a channel into that groove so it's pronounced when the base is done. Then I'm going to pop this on a paint lid with a dab of hot glue and start building my bot. So the wrencher is going to be predominantly made out of this coffee stirring stick. So what I want to do is I want to get a piece about as big as I want the body to be, about like that. You know what? Never mind. I want to get some arm pieces. And these don't have to be the exact same length, just ballpark. I'm not sure how I want to handle the legs yet. So for the head, the easy choice would be a bead or a piece of sprue or anything kind of flat. For me, I'm going to get a piece of this for my head. I'm going to cut out a kind of a square-like shape, something like that. I'm going to fold that in half the best I can, and then I'm going to glue that onto there to be the face. Oops. Something like that. I'm going to get that on there. I'm going to move it around. And I'm going to slide it back a little bit. Okay, so it looks like it's maybe on a pivot. I'm going to let that cool for a moment. I'm going to try to assemble an arm. I'm going to get a little bit of dab of glue in there to be the joint. I'm just going to seat two together and swirl it around to get good contact. And I'm going to get it into kind of a position where it's looking bent like that, and I'm going to set it down to cool. I'm going to do the same thing with this arm. I'm going to set that down to cool at a little bit of an angle. Cool. Now, I think that it would be cool if these guys rolled on the ground, so maybe a bead would be the way to go for that. I'm going to get a smallish bead and see if there's a flat side to it. Sometimes they have a flat side. This one doesn't. Okay, no problem. I'm going to get a piece of wire or a piece of anything really. Like this could work. A piece of this. I'm going to slide that up through there. I'm going to bend that around. Bring that to the middle. Twist those over and try to center that. Then I'm going to snip that off. Whoops. Let's see if I can fit it in my coffee stirrer. And behold, it fits. Okay. I'm going to get this mounted on the base with a dab of glue. Just like that. I'm going to get my arms on with a dab of glue. A dab of glue. So I want the bicep to be the inside part and the forearm to be the outside part. That's a personal choice. I'm going to bring it up in such a way where I can connect it to the head and the body and have 2 points of connection to where it looks like it'll stay and be sturdy. Something like that. Now I'm not super happy with the way that head looks, so I'm going to snip both those off at a bit of an angle. Just like that. Okay. Now for the wrencher, he needs like a socket wrench fitting. So I have these little teeny bead things here that are from some kind of thing where you make a drawing with beads. Like it has all these little pegs and you set it on there. You've probably seen these at your local craft stores and stuff. I'll put one of these arms as a socket wrench like that. And I'm going to leave that sit. And then I need like a crescent wrench for the other side. This is kind of big. But I think we can get it to do what we need it to. We can get it to look the part at least. And again, a lot of this is about theatrics. It doesn't actually have to be in scale. It just has to look like what it's supposed to be. So there we go. Something like that could be nice. Now, we need a little canister or a tank or something on his back that he would carry his fuel or spare parts in. So let me dig through and see what I got. Got lots of beads. Do I have anything in here? This is interesting. I don't really know what that's for. Oh, I like that, but it's not good for this. I have that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, let's play with that thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of glue across the back of the arms here and a little bit on the back of the head. And I'm going to use that glass bead I got from the Dollar Tree. I don't know what it's for exactly. I'm going to get that back there like that. Then we're going to have some spider webs. We're going to be real careful with those. All right, let's get a little bit of glue. A little bit of stupor glue. That's empty. That's empty. I need to do some, that's empty. I need to do some investigations here to find out which ones are empty or not. Because I'm saving those so that they can be used for parts. Cool, there we go. Let's get our little poker. Make sure there's nothing restricting the tip of it from being sharp. And I have a little thing of these bead deals, and we'll use these to make his eyes. Oh, come on, hand. We got one. We got two. Okay. And they don't have to be perfect. I noticed his bead's a little crooked on his back. I'm not overly worried about that. Now I'd like to do some little pieces that just kind of make him look more interesting. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. I'm going to curve it around something like this. This would have been easier to do before we cut all these pieces apart, truthfully. This is probably not a smart move for this stage in the game. I'm going to get a little bit of glue in that. I'm going to put that on his arm. I'm going to do another one on his forearm up there. I think it'll look nice. By nice, I mean it'll look scrappy and crappy. Okay. I would like some kind of treads on this base here, or on the wheel. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut some little strips. Like that. Those are small. I'm going to get my little poker. I'm going to dip those. I'm going to set them on that wheel to be treads. Just like that. Something like that. It's not going to be spectacular, but it's going to sell the concept. And that's why we're doing this. We just want the people at the table to enjoy the damn game, right? I think we can all agree there. And one more on the bottom. Right there. Oh, come on, you. Get out of there. Push those down a little bit. I'm going to put one more of my little rivets on his chest. And I think I'm going to put one in the middle of that glass bead on back. Just so he has some more interesting parts. Ooh, that does not want to stick to that bead. There we go. All right. Now we need a glue that has some glue in it. Let's see if I grab the right one. We'll put a little glue in the head hole, on the seams. Makes things sturdy. Definitely behind that bead so it stays. Right there where it fits in the bottom. Some beads on the tread so all that holds. And then we want some of that to run along the base and the bottom so that solidifies. Okay? We want that to be sturdy. Alright. Let's get a little bit of baking soda. I'm going to get rid of that super glue so I don't get it on my hand like I always do. And let's get in here and do some sprinkling. This is going to create a layer of dust and some interesting detail that may or may not be necessary for the sculpt, but we won't know till it's over. And when it's over, that's the time I fall in love again. Everything's looking pretty sturdy. Let's just get on there a little sprinkle of glue on here and there to make sure everything's going to stay where we need it to. Not glue, I'm sorry, baking soda. Cool. Looks like we're sturdied up. I'm going to wipe off my hands. We're going to spray paint this doofus real quick. loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. For some reason, the United States Army instilled in me that those are very important parts. Those are the qualities of leadership. So whenever I see leaders, whether it be in the workplace or in the city or wherever it is, I have some notions about how they should behave. Piece of cardboard. And when they don't behave in such a manner, I tend to get sorely irritated. A little bit of red. And a little bit of brown. Or tan, gray. I don't even know my colors. Don't even know them. Get some of my dirty paint water, some of that brown. Let's get in here and hit this homeboy up with some metallics. He seems pretty sturdy. There's no T in the word sturdy. Sturdy, dang it. Something like that. Capture a lot of him. He's moving around a little bit on that wheel. That's okay. We can put a dab of glue in there when it's all over to make sure he doesn't move. Get a little bit more water. I'm having trouble getting inside that wheel well how I want. There we go. Let me get this brown. I'm going to hit some of this up with some muck. Get it in that hole. Run across the bottom, you. Mix this gray in there and make a new hideous color that no one likes. I'm going to dab around on some surface. Okay, now let's dry them off. I'm putting that paper away, that cardboard away, so I don't get it all over me. I guess the next question is, what color are wrenchers? Well, I suppose they're light green, light to medium green. I'm going to start with this palm leaf. I'm going to get a little piece of cardboard, rip off, and a small brush. Whoa, knocking shit over. That's what I do. I'm going to get that green. I'm going to kind of get a lot of that off the brush. I'm going to hit the body parts, intentionally ignoring the edges where they might have taken the most beating over the years. I'm going to get it on those spoke pieces, on the face. Back of the head some, but not too much. I just want him to look green. And I'm not going to do his tools. I'm going to do his tools in the same color I'm going to do the wheel in. If you haven't guessed yet, we're going to use my favorite color in the whole world to do the wheel. And the tools. Pavement. This pavement's a little bit wet, but it'll do what we need it to. Paint the tools. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Wrenchers are not hooked up to the system either. They can't be remotely controlled anymore. And they are self-aware, but not Omega intelligent. They just want to do the job they understand to do and be left alone. Let's dry them off a little bit. All right, let's dry brush those, and I say dry brush lightly. I'll put that cardboard out. There it is. The term dry brush is probably not an accurate term for this endeavor. I'm going to get a soft, that's the wrong color. A soft synthetic brush. A little bit of this medium gray. I'm going to drag it around here and hit the tracks, a little bit of the wheels. Something like that. A little bit more. There we go. Something like that. I'm going to touch the tools up a little bit with that. Just not too much. Just kind of give them a little bit of a rough and tumble look. Hit those wheels a little better where those treads are. Okay. Then we're going to use that same brush while we have it out. We're going to get a metallic. Hit some edges of plates, hit the tools some. We don't want to put an enormous amount of work into that part. Just giving it some different look. Okay. Something like that. And then let's figure out what we're going to do about these buttons, the rivets. So for the eyes, I'm going to paint those with a bright green, with a bright red or a bright yellow dot. I don't know which. I'm going to do these rivets in bright red that are not eyes. Get a little bit of this bright yellow, demonic yellow. Okay, then I'm going to make a W sloppily on his back. W17. Then I'm just going to take that yellow. I'm going to do a line across this armor plating here. It's not really armor, this is just plating. I'm going to do one here on this one too. Just to add some more color. Okay, something like that. So that's going to be a wrencher. I think we're probably under 30 minutes still, but we probably don't have enough time to start the oiler, so we'll wait for that one. But we'll do this one real quick. All right, so generally these things don't want to fight you. However, if you go into one of those mechanical dragons lairs, these guys live there working on those dragons or any other kind of large automaton they can find to work on so they can feel like they're fulfilling their assigned purpose. They don't want to fight you. If they do have to fight you, their socket hand can throw out lubricant and they can bash you. They're also impossible to knock over. They're like a Weeble. They have a mechanic in here, a gyroscope that keeps them always upright. Even if you were to throw one off a cliff, it would land on the wheel. The wheel would probably shatter because the wheel is not made out of rubber. It is made out of some kind of alloy. They are resistant to energy damage because they are designed to be working on things that are shocking and stuff, so they're built with insulators in them. Many of those insulators are damaged and very old, so I would argue that you can fight them with electricity or shock or energy, but it's going to do reduced damage instead of no damage. That depends on what kind of good shape your bot's in. Mine looks beat up and old as shit. So anyways, that's the wrencher. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment, and all the things that please the algorithmos, the psycho AI that decides the success level of this channel. Check out our description below. There's going to be a link to our Discord and to dungeonswag.com. There's a discount code in that description that'll give you 25% off your first month. So if you're on the fence or you haven't checked us out yet, think about it now. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.